What is Agile? Well, at its simplest, it's the 4 values and the 12 principles written in the Manifesto for Agile Software Development, or more often known as the Agile Manifesto. But a more interesting question is, why does it matter to you as a project manager? So I'm John McFadyen. I'm a managing partner of Agile Centre, a certified Scrum trainer with the Scrum Alliance, and I've been playing with this Scrum thing and Agile thing for over 20 years. So what is it that makes Agile interesting? As I said, it's 4 values, it's 12 principles. It came about in the software world as what I believe one of the first industries to really have to tackle rising complexity. The traditional waterfall, as it's often called, relies on knowing what we're going to build and it's staying stable over time. And in the software world, and increasingly outside of the software world, that's no longer true. What we have is people who have rough ideas of what they need, but over time, those needs shift and change. And how do we build a thing that is suitable when the problem itself is on shaky ground? So Agile came about through understanding this need to deal with complexity different to the complicated nature that the traditional waterfall relied upon. This idea that we could understand the problem, we could analyze it, and then design a solution, and then go off and build it, something that project management is incredibly good at. The early Agilists, the lightweight methodologists, as they were known in the 90s, started playing around with the idea. How do we deal with this shifting landscape? How do we deal with this volatility, this uncertainty? And what they discovered was a need to test and learn, to inspect and adapt in the Scrum language. And what we've seen over the years is they were fortunate to be at the front of this wave. We've got increasing volatility, increasing uncertainty, increasing complexity, increasing ambiguity in the business world. And the lessons that we've learned in the world of Agile, in delivering software initially, but moving into broader and broader applications within organizations, are absolutely applicable today and increasingly so. Areas that have traditionally been fairly stable are being disrupted by technologies, the interconnected and interrelated nature of what we have as a culture, as a society. So Agile is becoming more and more interesting. It's not a silver bullet. It is not the only way of working. That traditional waterfall, I'm not a fan of the phrase, the more traditional project management approach still has its place. But more and more of the work sits in a different domain. Instead of the complicated nature of being able to know and analyze, we're in the complex domain of having to learn as we go, having to learn how the problem's changed as much as what the solution is. And it's only in this interplay that we can really craft interesting solutions to the customer's needs. So more and more project managers are having to step into new and different ground. Are they capable of it? Of course they are. It's a different tool set, it's a different mindset, but it's not one that's so alien to people that they can't work in this way. It just requires understanding that the old ways of working, those traditional ways, have their place, but they're not always where we are today. So, Agile for me is really something project managers want to be interested in. It's something to allow them to grow their skill set, to be more applicable, to be more useful in today's environment. That's not to say that they're not useful, but more so. For me, Agile is a way of looking at the world, of understanding that there are different ways of working and different tools do the job better in different circumstances. What I often do is talk about putting a nail into a piece of wood. If, like me, you found yourself at the top of a ladder with a nail and a screwdriver, that screwdriver starts looking hammer shaped. You can make it work. It will do the job. But the hammer that's stuck on the floor down there is going to be better. So do I keep hitting that nail into the wood with a screwdriver, or do I pause, get the right tool, and do it much, much quicker, far more effectively? What I see today is an opportunity for many project managers to have that realization, have that thinking, this is not the enemy. This is a different way of working. This is something that I can take on board, I can use to further my organization's aims. and become what I see as a real powerhouse, somebody who understands the traditional ways of working, somebody who understands these more modern dynamic ways of working, and can deploy the right ones at the right times in the right way. For me, that's what this is all about. It's not about being agile, it's about using the right things at the right time.